Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're sort of mirroring the weather outside, which is cold and horrible, by taking a look at a puzzle called Arctic Expedition by Cale Schoon. And Cale Schoon is a new name to me in the world of Sudoku, but this has been recommended to us a lot of times, and I've read the rules before I turned on the webcam, and I'm pretty astonished that this has a solution. Actually, we have to get Polly the polar bear to go here by taking a path through the grid. But Polly the polar bear is a very diligent explorer, and she has to visit every single cell in the grid, but can only turn on friendly cells. Now, don't worry if you don't know what a friendly cell is. I will explain that in a minute or two's time. But it doesn't seem remotely possible to me that this can have a unique solution. It's got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty. And yeah, this is what we're going to have a go at in today's video. But what I should mention before we kick off today is please do have a look at yesterday's puzzle. Have I got it here? Yes. Here we go. Lots of Lavender by GDC. The reason for having a look at this, and I'm not going to tell you which cell it is, but there is a cell in this puzzle that is quite simply one of the most astonishing Sudoku cells. So by cell, I mean literally a square in the grid that we've ever seen. And this puzzle only has 2 stars out of 5 for difficulty. It's definitely achievable, and it's worth having a go at just to find this particular cell. I'm going to say no more, but please do have a go at it. Loads and loads of you, those of you who have had a go so far, know exactly of what I speak, and it is worth your time. Now, weirdly, I have no birthdays to do today, so after yesterday, July the 6th, being a hugely popular day for birthdays, I have no birthdays for July the 7th. It's so strange. So I will simply say, check out Paws is Sudoku Hunt over on Patreon. That is our monthly reward for July. It is a lot of fun and very approachable. And I think Mark, also over on Patreon, has put up his latest Connections video. If you're not familiar with Connections, it's a New York Times game that works a bit like the Only Connect wall game, if you're familiar with that. So you get 16 words, and you have to group them into 4 groups of 4 without knowing what the categories are that sort of that headline each of the 4. Or that describe each of the 4 words in each group. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, Mark's been recording himself solving that, so some of you will no doubt enjoy that video. But that said and done, let's have a look at Arctic Expedition and see what Cale Schoon has in store for us. The rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply, which means we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Create a path to bring Polly the polar bear, Polly is there, back to her home in Snow City, which is here. To explore the entire tundra efficiently, the path must visit each cell in the grid exactly once. The path can only move between orthogonally adjacent cells whose digits differ by 2 or more. So a move to an orthogonally adjacent cell, let's say Polly was here. So if Polly's here, a move to an orthogonally adjacent cell is a move to this cell, this cell, this cell, or this cell, one of those, because these cells all share an edge with the green cell. So these cells, which do touch Polly's position, are not capable of being visited via an orthogonal movement because they just touch each other at a point. So that's not good enough. Polly has to move orthogonally, and to cells whose digits differ by 2 or more. So basically that's just an anti-consecutive constraint, isn't it? So Polly must not move to a cell that's consecutive to the digit that's in the cell that she's in. I understand that. Okay. It's absolutely tipping it down outside now. Anyway, some cells are covered in unfriendly ice, which prevents Polly from turning. Her path can only change direction on a cell if it is friendly, meaning its digit matches its row, column, or box number. Now, it doesn't say this, but by convention in Sudoku, boxes are numbered in sort of normal reading order. So this is box 1, this is box 2, this is box 3, box 4, box 5, box 6, box 7, box 8, box 9. So what does that mean? Let's pick a box that's got nothing in it. So this is box 6. So in box 6, wherever the 6 is, let's say the 6 was there, that is friendly because it's the 6 in box 6. But the other friendly cells in this box will depend on their position vis-a-vis rows and columns. For example, if there was a 4 in row 4, that would be friendly. If there was a 5 in row 5, that would be friendly. If there was a 6 in row 6, that would be friendly. So the 6 in row 6 would be doubly friendly, but that doesn't matter, it's just simply friendly. It would be friendly by dint of its row and friendly by dint of its box. Similarly, if there was a 7 in column 7, an 8 in column 8, or a 9 in column 9, those things would be friendly and therefore would afford Polly the opportunity to turn. Digits separated by a white snowball must be consecutive. Well, okay. Okay, I can see something about that. Not all possible snowballs are necessarily given. So what that means is, let's say this square was a 3. There's no snowball, but that's fine. There doesn't have to be a snowball between consecutive digits. It's just that we know for certain that these two digits are consecutive, these are consecutive, these are consecutive, and those are consecutive. And that is all the rules. Do have a go. Let's see if we can take Polly on an Arctic expedition. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, surely the most powerful constraint in this puzzle is that Polly has to visit every single cell. So Polly has to visit row 1, column 1. And therefore that is a 1. I can't believe I've actually got a digit instantly. That wasn't what I was going to do first in terms of logic, but I've sort of lucked into that. Yeah, so let's draw the path. Now, let's draw the path. We'll do the path in yellow. So, why? Well, because Polly has to visit row 1, column 1, and row 1, column 1 is not the end of the path. This is the end of the path. So that must be a corner. Now, we know from the rules that the corner must therefore be friendly. But what is the only possible friendly digit we can put in this square? It's in row 1, it's in column 1, it's in box 1. So it is a 1. So that's friendly. And therefore neither of these squares... well, that is actually in... no, it's not. Oh, I thought I got something really good there. I was about to say that... And where's 2 in the box? Because 2, therefore, can't be adjacent to the 1, because we learnt that Polly doesn't move to consecutive digits. So I was about to say that 2 had to be on that dot, but that's not true. 2 could be in Polly's own position. If a digit is friendly, does Polly have to turn? Let me just check the rules again. I don't think the rules are saying that. I was wondering if that was a 2. I mean, that's the position that Polly is in, so it's perhaps not the best example. Let's say that Polly went through that 8. That 8 is definitely friendly in its box, because that's box 8. Would that mean that Polly had to turn if Polly went to this square? And I think the answer on the rules is no. I think the 8 would simply afford Polly the opportunity to turn. That's how I read the rules anyway. Now. Well, okay, here's another... Oh, actually, no, I'm going to go back to my original point, which I got when I was reading the rules, is that because snowballs contain consecutive digits, Polly can never move through a snowball. Because to move through a snowball would imply that Polly was moving from, the digit 3 to the digit 4, which is expressly against the rules, because Polly's only allowed to move to digits that are at least 2 different from the the cell that she's in. So I think we can immediately just put X's in the middle of snowballs. Now, in fact, that's no, it's not that interesting. Well, it's a bit interesting. So, I mean, Polly has to visit row 9, column 1. So Polly has to do that, and then Polly will have to do this. And now this is a corner. So Polly also has to do this. So that was nearly good. It was nearly good. Polly, this must be a corner as well. Yeah, so perhaps... Well, the other thing I noticed, let me just come back to it, is that neither of these squares is a 2. Now, the only friendly quality that this digit can have, it's in row 1, well, it can't be a 1. It's in box 1, and it can't be a 1. And it's in column 2, and it's not a 2, because it's next to the 1. So Polly cannot turn in this position. And that logic works exactly the same for this square. So Polly must do this. I was about to say this is a corner, but it's not a corner because it's where Polly starts. So, what does that mean? I don't know. But this square here, Polly can't move through snowball. So Polly must go there. Now, well, are we meant to? Probably I'm going to explore this square. So that is definitely a corner. Now, that is in column 1, but it can't be a 1. It's in box 7, and it could absolutely be a 7, and it's in row 9. So that is a 7 or a 9. I mean, that really doesn't seem to be constrained. The same sort of thing happens here, in the sense that this digit is a corner, so it has to be friendly. Now it's in column 2, row 8, and box 7. But if it was, well, it's not 8, I don't think, because if it's 8, it's in a 7, 8, 9 sequence, and that will break this square, so it's not 8. And if it's 7, this would be 9. That's lovely, actually. That's very clever setting. Okay, I don't think this is 7. Let me explain. This is big. This is a big deduction, because if this is 2, that's going to shift my 2 up here onto the white dot, which is where I was hoping it was going to go. Because if this is 7, these two squares have to be 6 and 8 to be consecutive with 7. But now one of these is an 8. And 8 will be consecutive with whichever... Well, actually, that would be forced to be a 9, wouldn't it? But 8 will be consecutive with 9. And Polly's movement is not designed to cater for that. So I think that is a 2. These squares are 1 and 3. This is This is really good. This is really clever. This is now not 2, so there's a 2 on here, which must be consecutive with the other digit on its snowball, and that digit is not 1, and I can hear the dulcet tones of Maverick's engine. So we're about to get buzzed by a light aircraft, and I apologise for that. Here comes Maverick. Oh, 8 is in one of those squares. 2, 3, and 4. Polly goes here. Polly... Yeah, the thing that's going to be difficult here is I don't do enough friendly puzzles, you know, to have a sort of inbuilt map in my brain of what's friendly and what isn't, if you see what I mean. So I can already feel that I'm sort of starting to test every cell and thinking, could that be friendly? And that's going to be a really inefficient way to solve the puzzle if I have to do it that way. But it might be a case of needs must, actually. What about that square? That could be a 9 or a 3. Could be a 3 in the corner, couldn't it? But it's in column 9. It's in row 1. It definitely isn't a 1. this, that's row 2, column 9, box 3. So for that to turn, this would have to be a 3 or a 9 as well. 3 and 9 are more than 2 apart, so that's fine. 2 is in one of those squares. Wow. I'm sorry if you're immediately seeing the next step here. Well, okay, here is a tiny point, but it's one I am very prepared to make. I don't think this can be a turning point. And that's, yeah, if we look at those squares as a collective. Now, these digits, well, all of these green cells are in rows 1, 2 and 3, columns 1, 2 and 3. And box 1. So the only possible turning points that Polly can do in this box are on this square, the 1, and on the 2 and the 3. Oh, so this is proving, in fact. No, it's not, because, well, it's not. If that's a 3, it's proving that Polly goes straight through friendly digits. So Polly could turn here if, whether that's 2 or 3, Polly can turn there. But Polly can't turn here because this can't be a 1, 2 or a 3. So Polly definitely continues. And therefore, well, so either Polly is going to go straight down there or straight down there. So there's definitely going to be more we can do once we can work out which direction Polly goes in initially. Oh no, because if Polly goes there, Polly can turn. But having turned, no, then Polly could never visit the 4. Because Polly couldn't turn twice. Okay, this is confusing. But, okay, but no, that's fine, isn't it? So we can actually look at the 4 itself. Sorry, this is now obvious now I've given the things I've said, because we know that Polly visits this square. And if we look at how Polly visits the square, there are 2 possibilities. Polly either comes in that way, but if that's the case, the 4 must be a turning point, because otherwise Polly's going to bash into the wall here, the path. So Polly can't do that because 4 can't be a turn, so Polly must go straight through. That's beautiful. So now Polly goes like this, but this square has become a corner because that needs visiting somehow. So we must do that. And that's fine because this square is friendly because it's a 2 or a 3 in box 1. But then that square must be a continuation. Maybe this is how this turns out to be unique, in the sense that perhaps what happens is that once Polly sort of set on her way, she sort of skids and for long distances until hitting, you know, if the path was sort of broadly like this or something like that, then perhaps, you know, you can see how it might work. So I wonder if I'm meant to look at or think about 3 is in one. Oh, 3 is in one of 2 places I've just seen. Because 3 is there, 3 is there. 3 can't go here because the path goes into a 4. Golly gosh, I mean, what on earth are you meant to do next then? Okay, let's look at box 9, because I can see this square has to be visited, but can't be visited by a horizontal direction because of the snowball. So the finish of the puzzle is like that, which means this is a corner, which means that's forced. Yeah, and I wonder if we can do... When we looked at box 1, we noted that the friendly cells were 1, 2 and 3. Now in box 9's cells are all in row 7, 8, 9, or column 7, 8, or 9. So the only things that can turn here are 7s, 8s, and 9s. So this is a 7, 8, or a 9. But it's not in row 7, so it's either an 8 or a 9. Now, that's actually almost interesting. If that was a 9, this would be an 8. I suppose you can't put... I'm wondering if this can be a turn now. I feel like it can't. But that's just a sense rather than anything else. If that's a turn, doesn't it have to be... Isn't it going to be too close to this? Maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't. But if it's a 7, it's not a turning point because 7 is not friendly in this position. 7's friendly in those positions within box 9. Yeah. So for this to be a turn, it would have to be an 8 or a 9, and Polly's path would be consecutive. So this is not a turn. So Polly goes there, which... Yeah, this is good. Okay, so now let's concentrate on this digit and ask whether this could be a turn. Now, if this was a turn, it would have to be 7, 8, or 9, but because of the path, actually these would have to be a 7, 9 pair, wouldn't they, to not be consecutive, and that would break row 9, column 1. So this is not a turn, which means the path goes here, which means this is now a corner of the path, which means this square is now a 7, 8, or a 9. Yes, okay, it can be all of those things, because it is in column 7, row 8, and box 9. Bobbins, okay. Ah, all right, here is a really cool point. How could Polly do this? Polly cannot do this because that introduces 2 more friendly cells into box 9, and we know there are only 3 friendly cells maximum in box 9. The box number 9 and the column and row numbers that live in box 9, which are 7s, 8s, and 9s. So there are only 3 friendly digits, so you can't have 4 turning points. So that's not true. That's not true for exactly the same reason, which means that the path does this. Now, I can't rule that out, I don't I might be able to rule that out. Well, I'll think about that in a second, but I can't rule it out using that logic that we've just done. So... Ooh, how do we do that then? Yeah, there's another thought I'm having here, which is totally not relevant to where I am in the grid. But sorry, my brain's jumping around a bit here. But I'm just thinking about this box, because what I'm appreciating is that I think this box, and this box are the most constrained because of the rows and columns numbers that live in those boxes. Now, this is box 5. And this includes rows 4, 5, 6 and columns 4, 5 and 6. So I'm sort of thinking about that point that we were just looking at. For the path to have 2 corners in it like that in box 5, this cell and this cell would have to be a 4, 6 pair, wouldn't they? I'm not even sure that's possible, actually. So I suspect when we get to box 5, because the 4s are in those positions, so maybe you could do it. No, maybe you could do it in certain positions. Okay, so it is possible. Yeah, okay, but I think that the path will be very constrained in terms of how it moves through box 5 when eventually I can get the path over there. Let's think. It's such a light touch rule, isn't it? That you just can't have consecutive digits on the path. Sorry, if this is obvious, I apologise again. To me at least, it seems remarkably... Okay, we might have to do this in a micro way. So, can this be a turning point? For that to be a turning point, it's not able to be a 3, is it? So it's a 7 or a 9. But that doesn't work. In fact, that's very nice deduction. If we do that, then I think this is in row 9, box 7, and it can't be column 3. So it matches up with this digit. And so far so good, except that apparently I have to put an 8 in one of those squares, and that 8 will be here, and it will be consecutive with this digit. So that doesn't work, so we have to do that, which actually is going to force that. That can't close. But this now has to be a friendly digit, which is, again, well, no, it's slightly different. It could be 8. Because it's now in row 8. It's 8 or 7. But it's on a dot. So I don't know if you can hear the weather. It's absolutely horrible. That can't be an 8. So look, we're so close to doing something in row 8 here. That's an 8. Oh, that can't be 9. Oh, okay. Well, here is a knowledge bomb from Cracking the Cryptic. In any pair of consecutive digits, you will find that exactly one of those digits is even, and exactly one of those digits is odd. Which one of these... What's the odd number on this dot? Well, it seems to have to be 7. So that means that's not a 7, which means I've now got an 8-9 pair in this box, and the only other possibility for turning would be if a 7 appeared in. So this could be a 7, couldn't it? That's disappointing. But if that's a turning point, that's got to be a 7 or a 9. No, 7's... No, sorry, I was thinking of... it's not 7 or 9. It's 7 or 3. And it can't be 7. Because then this would be 8 and consecutive on the path. So the path continues straight there. Which looks like it's trying to build a corner somewhere here. But what about this? Can this turn? If that turns... No, wait a moment. We're going. If this turns, we've got 2 more turning points to identify. And this would have to be a 7. Because it's row 7, column 1, box 7. So that would be a 7. And this would have to be not 7, not 2. No, there's no way. That doesn't work. So actually, everything is sort of doing what I was wondering about earlier, where we're sort of getting these slithers. Polly sort of sets going and then just goes skidding along. Okay. Now, what does this mean? What is going on outside? Can we do any magic here somehow? And yeah, again, this is my ineptitude, isn't it? I'm just not confident with sort of saying, oh, well, this can't be a turning point for X reason, because I feel it could be. It's in column 4, so it could be a 4 or a 9. I mean, obviously it's more powerful if it's a 9, because that would settle these 2 digits. There's definitely a 7 on here. I'm going to record that. I'm wondering if I can do... Yeah, could we try this? Any dot, we've already said this, has to have an odd digit on it. So the odd digit that's on this dot is not 7, it's not 3, and it's not 9. So it is 1 or 5. Now, if it's 1, this is a 1-2 pair. And it would have to be in that order. And if it's 5, Well, that's bad. I could go with 4 or 6, I think. And there's no restriction, is there? Oh, hang on, 2 can't. Ah, hang on, let's go back. I hadn't appreciated this. If you put 1 on this, it's the 1-2 pair that would result is going to crash with this. So this is a 5 on here. So this is 4, 5 or 6, and there's definitely a 5 in this domino. Sorry, I had to take a break there. I got involved in homework, yes. So where was I? Let's come back and have a look. I was putting 5 into one of these squares. Why did I do that? I really find it difficult when I get interrupted. 5 in one of these squares because, oh yes, because we thought that was to do with, yeah, that was to do with odd numbers. But why couldn't this have been, oh, it couldn't have been a 1 because there was a 1-2 pair. Right, yeah, okay, so I'm there. I remember that. So 5 is in one of these, but 5 we know nothing about unless this could be a 5, which it could. Okay, so that's interesting, but not likely to be terribly useful, perhaps. What about, well, that, we can't do that. I can't make loops. Polly doesn't move in loops. So Polly ends up in this square without being able to go left. So Polly either goes straight on or turns right. Now, if Polly turns in that position, Polly, this digit would have to be either 6 from the row, it's not 3 from the column, or 4. So this could be, if Polly turns here, it's 4 or 6 into a 9, which is okay, isn't it? But then, would that mean this was a turn? Polly goes there. No, not necessarily, because Polly could go up here and turn. Oh, bobbins. Okay. I have a feeling if I hadn't got interrupted then, that I was probably on a better track. So can we do Sudoku? If that's a 3, that's a 3, that's a 2. No. If we turn up here, that could be a 4 or a 2 actually. If we can we do something? Do we know whether this turns or not? If this cell turns, this has to be 6 again. 6 is so annoying. Naughty 6. Oh, there you go. Right, hang on. Let's use that cell. That can't. That's actually seeing all its possible friendly cells. Sorry, that's an obvious one. 2 and 4. This square here, to be a turn, would have to be, it's in row 4, it's in box 4, and it's in column 2. So that is not a turn. So we do that, which means we must do that. Golly, the weather. It's so bad. So now, well, now I tell you what does feel impossible, but it's only a feel of impossibility, is if we now turn here, then we have to create 4 turns in those cells. But the only digits we can use for that, because we can't use the column numbers, 1 and 2 have gone in those columns, we could use the row numbers, which are 5 and 6, and we could use the box number, which is 4, and there are only 3 of those numbers, so that's impossible to have 4 turning points. That's quite elegant. So we can extend that. That's good. Well, it's good, but it's not that surprising, because now Polly is basically slithering down the whole of column 1, or up the whole of column 1, I suppose. We don't know. I don't know whether Polly is going up or down when she traverses column 1. So, and then And then if there's, there would be 2 turns. If Polly turns here or here, then this would be a turn, or that would be a turn. But it's in column 3. Box 4 though, this 4 doesn't see those squares. So 4 opens itself up as a possible turning point, as well as the row number, which could be 4, 5 or 6. So we could definitely have 2 turns along there, I think. So again, I sort of feel like we're going to have to do micro deductions here. Let's... Oh, for goodness sake. Right, that square is in, well, it's in row 8, it's in column 4, and it's in box 8. So by its telos, its nature, it is not capable of being a turning point. So it's the same thing we saw up there, I think. If the path was coming horizontally into this square, that cannot be, because this would be a turning point yet wouldn't be friendly. So the path must travel... Oh, well, this is good. So the path must travel vertically through row 8, column 4. Because effectively we can do that. And now... Oh, that's why we've been given 9 and 8. Ah, that's really lovely. We've been given 9 and 8 because look at this square. This square here is either to be a turning point, it's in column 4, it's in row 9, it's in box 8. So 2 of those are ruled out, that's a 4. Yeah, okay, and now where's 4 in box 7? Not here, because it would be next to 3 on the path. Not here by Sudoku, so it's there. Which means 4 is in one of those 2 squares. Well, one of those 3 squares, I should say. But 2 and 4 can be adjacent on the path. They aren't consecutive. Oh, 4. Right, this is a 4-5 pair. We know 5 was on this dot. We now know 4 is on this dot as well. So in this row, where's 1? One of those 2 squares. Where is 3, 4? We don't know. 8 is in one of those 2. We don't know which one. Oh, this is a turn, because the path must turn. So what's this? This is in box 8. Oh, it could be column... It's in column 5. So it could definitely be 5. It's 5 or 9. Now, if it's... I don't know. I mean, if it's 9... that would be 7. This would be 8. It's obviously more potent if it's that digit, but I don't think it's conclusive. Okay, here is a tiny point. I don't think this can be a turn, because that is in row 7, but it can't be 7 because it would be consecutive with 6 beneath it. It can't be 8, which is its box number, and it can't be its column number because that's appeared already. So the path goes up into a 9. Yeah, okay, that is a good point. 9 is not friendly in this position, because this is in column 4, row 6 and box 5. So actually we have to continue, which means this has to continue. Oh, we're getting close. Can we? Do we think it's going to do that or that? Not sure. For this to be a turn, this square here would actually have to be a 5, wouldn't it? Because it's in column 4 and it's in box 5. So this would be a 5, and then this couldn't be a 5. That would have to be a... Well, what would that be? It can't be its row number because that's 5. It can't be its column number because that's 3. And it can't be its box number because that's 4. Ah, okay. So there may well have been an easier way to see that. But this doesn't turn into here. which means that does continue. Right, so column 3 is a great long slide as well for Polly. But having said that, whoa, it is I don't know if that will come out on the microphone, but it is absolutely tipping it down. Okay, lovely. Okay, so where do we go now? We've made a tiny bit of progress since homework, and we have got to do. If that closes, is this square interesting? That couldn't be an 8. It could be a 5. No, it couldn't be a 5. Oh, I see. This is the cell. This cell. There. Can that be a turning point? Now, I don't think it can, because it's in row 8, and we've got 8. It's in box 8, and we've got 8. So it has to be its column number, but that's 5, and I know there's a 5 here. So this doesn't turn, which means this is a little turn. And now we've got all sorts. We've got a weird little U-shaped thing here, which means that goes up. Now, or does that turn like that? Sorry, another enormous interruption there. It's the weather. I mean, the weather has been so horrific, and the children are inside. Oh, hang on. Hang on a minute. A bit later. Sorry. This might happen again, actually. They've got cabin fever. Okay. Let's. What were we up to? I was putting. What on earth was I doing? I've extended something there. I've taken something out. Oh, so presumably I've said that this can't be a. Why have I said that? This can't join up to this. It would create 2 turns. 8 is friendly in this box. That's fine. What would that be then? That would be. That could be a 5, couldn't it? So why did I think that? Oh, this is so annoying. This is so annoying. There's probably some really good reason that I thought that this couldn't be. This couldn't join up to this. Is it to do with the overall loop? Doesn't seem to be. Why did I think that? Oh, I'm so sorry. I probably only just did it. So in your minds, you're like, he just said why he couldn't do this. Oh, well, okay. I can see in this box that can't be a 5 because it would be next to a 4 on the line. So that's got to. So the 5 in that box. So this can't be a 5 now. And if it can't be a 5, how could this be a turn? It's in box 8. It can't be a 7 because 7 and 8 are consecutive. And it can't be a 5, which is its column number. So I think that's true, but I don't know how I did that before. I've no idea. When I watch the video back, assuming I can solve the puzzle, I'm going to be intrigued to know what I was thinking. But okay, this can't be a turn, so that we've got to extend that, which means we've got to extend that. But hang on, that's a turn, so I can find out what friendly digit this is. It's not 1. 1 is not friendly. Oh, goodness me. 1 is not friendly here. So that must be a 1, according to my pencil marks. And the friendly digit that this is it can't be 8. And 8 is its row number and its box number. So that must be column number 6. So that's 7. That's 8. That's 9. That's 8. Here we go. Here we go. So we were on the right lines. That's fine then. I'm going to actually pencil mark that box. What have we got left to put in it? 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7, 9. And that can't be 5. We've already said that. 6, 7 and 9 all look fine. Oh bobbins. That doesn't seem to resolve. Where, oh, okay, where are 2 and 3 in the bottom row? Because they can't go there, because they would be consecutive along the line, so one of them goes in the corner. Which, I mean, if it was 3, it would resolve this. So if we got a 3 in the corner, not only could we sing about it, we could resolve that dot, because 3 and 4 couldn't be consecutive. But okay, what do we think now then? We've got to go. We've got an absolute plethora of line ends in row 6. So that, no, that could be a 5. I was thinking that couldn't turn. Oh, I'll tell you what, if that does turn, it can't turn into itself, can it? So if this turns, it turns there. Which it can't do, actually. There's a little point that's actually semi-intelligent. The reason this can't turn like this is quite pretty. I think we look at this right at the start of the puzzle. In this box, only the digits 4, 5 and 6 are, are friendly, and only in certain positions. So 4 could be friendly in those positions, but in these positions, only 5s and 6s are friendly. And 5 and 6 can't go next to each other on the line. So actually we get a bit more. We've got to do that, we've got to do that. There we go. Can we do that again there? Surely I can. It's exactly the same argument. Neither of these squares could be a friendly 4, so they both have to be friendly 5s and 6s. That would have to be a friendly 5, in fact. In fact, that's the only digit that's friendly in that cell, is 5. It's in box 5, row 5 and column 5. So it would be a 5-6 pair, and in fact that can't even be a 6, so that doesn't work either. Hang on, I would be a bit careful here. I mean, it's true to say that that's not possible, but it might still be possible for this to turn, although if that turns, no, that's not possible either, because this would have to be a 4 in that instance. Oh, in fact, I've just had another thought as Maverick's about to buzz by. Yeah, this can't turn because it would be a 4-5 pair, but I have got a 4 in this column, haven't I? So the only things that we could make... So it's friendly row numbers we can use to turn. There must be a turn in this column, even if it's there, even if it goes straight up them. Friendly row numbers or friendly box numbers. Yeah. That, okay, hang on. I must have thought about this before. Didn't I think about this? I mean, this can't turn now. Especially, I mean, if this digit turns, it has to be a 2, because it has to take its box number, because its row number and column number are looking at it. And if it's a 2, it's next to a 3, which is total nonsense. So that has to continue. If that turns, it has to be a 2, because it can't be its column number, so it has to be its row or box number, and again that doesn't work, so that doesn't turn. So this is a corner. There we go. That's got to be a corner. Now that's got to be a friendly digit that's equal to 2 or 3, because it can't be equal to 4, which is its column number, so it's either its row number, which is 3, or its box number, which is 2, and it's not its box number, so that's a 3. And that means, well, this one now has to go straight on. Which is almost interesting. But could that be a turn? If that's a turn, it's either 4 or 5 to turn. Because it's either its row number or its box number or its column number, which is also 5. So it's 4 or 5 to turn. Then this can't be 6. Because 6 has appeared in column 6. So for there to be a turn in either of these positions, it's either 4 here or 5 here, or 4 or 5 here. And for this to be a turn, that's got to be exactly equal to 5, because it sees its row and it sees its box number. So that could be a turn if it's a 5. That would settle this digit down. What about that being a turn? That's going to be able to be 5 again, isn't it? Or 2. Oh, bobbins. Oh, but if it turns into here, that would also be a 2 or a 5. So that would be a 2-5 pair. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, no. Okay. All right, well, let's try something different then. That square is not a turn. There we go. That square there, you can't turn in it because... Oh, hang on, that's going to be a... this is interesting. Yeah, there's a few things going on here. That can't be a turn. Because to be a turn, it would either need to take its column number, well, that's 6. Its row number, well, that's 3, or its box number, well, that's 2. So that means that the path goes straight through this square. It either goes like that or like that. But I've just noticed that this square is also... That's just not friendly, is it, in that position? Because it's in box 3, column 8, and row 3. So the path also... So the path goes straight through both of these cells. I don't know what to do with that particularly. I mean, it doesn't... Can that be... We looked at whether that could be a turn already. That can't be... No, I was about to say that can't be an 8. I mean, yes, well done, Simon. No. What 01 is in one of those squares? You can tell I'm desperate when I'm resorting to Sudoku. That can't be a 7 in box thingy because it would be next to 8 on the line. So 7 is up there. So these are not 7. 6, 9. There's a very persistent bird outside. The weather has suddenly stopped going nuts. These ones, these are all in row 6. If they turn into each other, does that matter? If we turn that into that, then we have to use either the row number, which is 6, the box number, which is 6, or the column number, which is right. That doesn't work. At least that doesn't work. I'm not sure about this one. This doesn't work, I think, because as I say, if we label these cells up with their friendly options, the column doesn't work for this square. So it's only got its row number or its box number, which is in this instance the same number, 6. Now this one could be 7, but 6 and 7 are consecutive, or it could be 6. So that would be a 6-7 pair, which doesn't work. So, oh, hang on, I didn't mean to do that. What I wanted to do was to say that. Now this might have the same issue, although, no, 9 might come into play here. Can that turn? That's the question. So, for this to turn, oh, it can't be 9. Ah, no, it will have the same issue then, I think. Because that to turn has to be a 6, and this to turn can't be an 8, so also has to be a 6. Right, so there was more going on than met the eye. We've got to do that now. This can't make a loop. Polly doesn't loop, so Polly goes up there. Now if those turn, that doesn't work. Oh, this is lovely. Right, if these two close up together, how would that work? Well, this could be 5, basically, or 4. And this is also in row 4, but it can't be 6, can't use its column number, so this would be a 4-5 pair if there was a turn. So that doesn't work, so we have to do that, which means that this has to be a corner. Well, it means it is a corner, but it has to be a friendly digit, and it's not a 3, and it's not a 2, so it is its column number, which is 5. Right, so that's 5, which means this is 9, which means this is 7, which means this is 6. Is that good? Well, it's not bad. At least it's done something. These squares are 2, 3, and 5. I'm going to label them up. That's a 2, 3 pair, so that seems to have to be 5. So this is a 2, 3 pair in box number 9, and these are 1, 6, and 7. Now, can we improve upon any? Ah, yeah, there we can. 1 can't be next to 2, so that's 3, that's 2. I could have done that by Sudoku. Chose the most complicated way. 3 is in one of those squares. 5 is in one of these squares. Both are available, unfortunately. We know that the path travels straight on through this purple, so it now can't go horizontal because we worked out that had to be a corner. So in fact the path goes like that now. Now, do we think that's surprising or not? Maybe not. So, gosh, if it goes there, if this continues up there, this square has to be a 2 to be friendly. Sorry, I realise I stopped talking. I'm trying to work out whether there's an easy win here. I bet there isn't. Okay. So, what we will say is... I don't know. I mean, if that does that, is that a problem? That could be a 2, couldn't it? It would have to be a 2, actually. So if that turns there, this has to be a 2. And then this could come straight through. So I'm unsure now where I'm meant to look. But okay, maybe we can pull off some magic here. If that closes up, how does that work? We could be using 5s and 6s. I'm going to have to think about this. So if we do this, what friendly digits are available in that square? 5 is 1, 7 is 1, 6 is 1. And the friendly digits available here are not 8. So we're only looking at 5 and 6, but we could do 7 and 5 there, couldn't we? Is there a reason that doesn't work? That would be a corner. And that would be in row 4. So 4 could be friendly there, I think. And 6 would be friendly there. Oh, bother. Okay. So that might all be possible. So we had a flurry of activity and it's all come to naught. Could we... Here's a tiny point. Where is 5 in box number 1? And the answer is I don't really know, but it's in one of those 3 squares, and therefore 5 in this column has to be in one of these 3, but can't be next to 4, so 5 is in one of these 2 squares. I mean, it's a tiny thing. So 5, same thing is going on. Look, in row 6 now. 5 has to be in one of those 3 squares. But doesn't that prevent exactly what I was just thinking about here? I'm not sure. This to be friendly can't be 5 anymore because of the thing we've just discovered. So it could be 7. It could be 6. It's 7 or 6. To be friendly, this square can't be 8, so it can't be its column number. It could be its row number. And it could be its box number. Oh, but it can't be 5. So it is 6, and 6 and 7 are consecutive. This is unbelievable. So now I can do that. But that's still, it's just so difficult to make firm progress, isn't it? But surely that's impossible now, because again, 5's been ruled out. Yeah, the only thing this can be to be friendly is 6. And the only thing that can be to be friendly is 9. And 9 and 6 are not consecutive. So I can do that. And the expression we look for at times like this is bobbins. This is a difficult puzzle. Actually, I'm starting to think that this is quite a difficult puzzle. Because you have to use a lot of different logic. And not all of it is obvious to me. I know this 2 has a thingy. It's either going this or this, isn't it? Maybe that's where I've got to look now. It'd be helpful to know if... I don't know if we can extend this at all. If this was a corner, what would it be? Couldn't be a 2. Could be a 9. Then this would be a corner. What would that be? That couldn't be 9 anymore. Yeah, okay. That is not a corner. Because if that's a corner, that's a corner. And although this can be 3 or 9, that's fine. That has no possible value anymore. Because above it would be a 3-9 pair. So that can't work. So this goes down to here, which is trying to put pressure on this, I feel. So if it did that... Oh, surely, no, it can't do that. Because if it did that, how many turns is Polly making in box 3? And the answer is Polly is making all sorts of turns. Because Polly's going to have to do that, isn't she? Because that's got to be a corner. Now this is a corner. And now in box 3, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 6 Polly turns. 6 turns of Polly in box 3. And how many? Well, I suppose... Well, no, that's not really going to work, is it? No, it's not going to work. I'll tell you why. It's not going to work because in terms of the total number of friendly digits that are available in box 3, the row number and the box number overlap. So ordinarily you'd have the 3 row numbers, the 3 column numbers, and the box number. That's 7 different turns would be possible as a maximum. Here, row 3, which is one of the rows, and the box number overlap. So 6 is the absolute maximum. But you have to, therefore, use the row number as a turn, and you can't, because 1 can't be a thing in this row. So I don't think it's possible. In fact, 2 can't be either because of the 2 here. So I'm going to claim that doesn't work. And therefore this does that, and therefore this does that. So we're so close now, aren't we? Can we have 4 turns? Because now if I close this, I have to close that as well. So although this might work in the sense that this 6 here, 6, 9 would work there, what would we put into these 2 squares? We could put the row number. No, doesn't work, I don't think, because I'm going to do this very slowly to make sure I'm not making a logical logical leap. But I think for this to be friendly, it can't be 5, it can't be 8, so it has to be its box number. For this to be friendly, it can't be 5, which is its row, it can't be its box anymore, so it has to be its column. And that's so far so good. But here, this now can't be 9. And it can't be 6, so it must be its row number. And this can't be its column number, can't be its box number, and can't be its row number, so there's no way that works. So now we finally proved that that does this. Which means that extends, which means that extends. We can do that. We're still not done. We're still not done, but we're getting closer. How? No, that could be a 7. This is extraordinary. that this is still resisting. So, okay, maybe, do I know whether that's a possibility? What would this be? It couldn't be its column number, it couldn't be its row number, so it would be its box number. I see, so this would be a 3-9 pair. And then that would have to be a corner, and that would be a 7, I'm guessing, and that looks like it works. Have I... Oh, no, I haven't. I was wondering whether I'd isolated Polly's path by doing that, but I don't think I have. So Polly starts here and goes... Looks like... I'm sorry, I can't see. Is there a way of telling how Polly finishes the path? So if Polly does... No, that's still okay, I think. There's probably... If Polly does this... How does Polly do that now, actually? Is this 5? Yeah, see, 5 is going to put pressure on this, isn't it? Because if this turns now, we can't use the column number. Here, this has to be the box number. That has to be a 2. And what would this be? It can't be a 2 anymore. It can't be its row number, its box number, its column number. So we can't turn up. So ever since we got this 5, I could have concluded that. So that's got to continue. That's got to continue. That's got to continue. And now... Well, now I don't care. I'm going to use this. What's that got to be? That is a 2. Yeah, that is a 2. That's huge. So that's a 2. That's a 2. That's a 3. Well, how... Does it do more than... Must do something. Probably now we can trace Polly's path. Let's see. So Polly is going boom, 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 boom. Gets here. Now... So if Polly turns right... That finishes nicely. If Polly goes straight up, that finishes. It's totally still possible for either to work. That's ridiculous. Okay, but if this... Yeah, because this can't be a 3 anymore, how could it be a turning point? Because it's in row 2, and it can't be 2. It's in box 3, and it can't be a 3. And it's in... column 8, and it can't be an 8, so that's not a turning point. So there we go, that's the path. Whoa, that has taken me ages, but now surely I can write in some digits. What is this? That's in row 1, can't be run. Column 8, can't be 8, so it must be its box number. So that's 3, that's 9. We don't get a 3 in the corner from that, at least. We might get one here. This is a turning point, which it's going to be a 7, isn't it? It's in box 3, row 1, it's a 7. So that's a 7, which means that's not a 7. But, I mean, it's good, but it's still, it's not done, is it? I'm going to get rid of some of the colouring, because that's otiose. 5 in this box is in one of 3 places, so I can get rid of 5 from here, place 5 here, which means these squares are 4, 6 and 8. Now, can we do... No, 4, 6 and 8 are never consecutive with each other, but 7 can't be next to 6 or 8, so that's a 4. So these squares are now 1, 7 and 9. Now, what can we not put next to things? We can't put 1 next to 2 ever, so that becomes a 1. And 9 is in the column already, so 9 goes there, 7 goes there. 9 is in one of these 2 squares by Sudoku, which means 9 moves into one of those 3 squares. This now has become a 5-9 pair by Sudoku, using our pencil mark, so that becomes a 1. We've not put something 7 into this column. So these squares are 6, 8, 9. I don't know the order, but oh well, no, I don't, but I can do something, because I can't put 8 and 9 on the same line. So that must be the start of Polly's journey is an 8 or a 9. And there's definitely a 6 in this domino. That's definitely not a 9 by Sudoku. So there's a 6 in one of those squares. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I am going to enjoy the final few minutes of this, because this is a challenging puzzle, I think. 1, 3, 7. Now we can't put 7 next to 8, and that means that's a 3 because it sees a 1. So this is a 1, 7 pair. That's not a 3. Why? Oh yeah, so that's a 3 because 3 can't go next to 4. So 3 can't go next to 2. So 3 is in one of those squares. Oh, which was we could have got anyway by simple Sudoku if I'd seen it. Alright. Now, there's a 5 in the top row that fixes the 5 and the 9, so that becomes an 8. That's good. Now that's 6, that's 9. Now we might be able to do row 2, I mean. 4, 5 and... Oh, that's okay. 4, 5 and 6 is fine because they aren't joined. They're all joined vertically. That can't be 6, that can't be 4. 3 and 4 are consecutive. So these are 1 and 8. I don't know the order apparently. Okay. Shall we try... Let's try this column where we need 6 and 7, I think. Alright, so this is 2, 4 and 8. Lots of even digits. We can't put 4 next to 5. That's still not done, is it? Of course it isn't. Isn't it remarkable, though? I mean, just to pause for a moment and just say, isn't it remarkable that there is a unique path for Polly through this grid with this constraint? I mean, I don't know how you've discovered that, Cale, but that is very weird and wonderful. Have I not used a corner? Oh no, I've got the corner there. Do I know what this 4, 5, how that resolves? That would be useful. No. Do I know anything else? 9, no. 3, no. Oh, there you go. 9 can't go next to 8. So that's another tiny win for the good guys. Okay, let's try this column. 2, I'm going to literally pencil mark it to within an inch of its life. We've got all of the odd digits in it. Now that can't be 4 or 6, so that's 2 or 8. That can't be 2 or 4, so that's 6 or 8. Oh, so there's a 6, 8 pair. I see, good grief. So that's 2, that's 4. That loses its 2 ability. That loses its 4 ability. There's a 2, 8 pair here, so that becomes a 4. So 4 is now in one of these cells. Don't have a clue which one. No, no. Imagine if it's got a sting in the tail. No, I don't want any stings in any tails here. We could argue that. I don't know. It's actually weird. It's really strange that this is going to finish. 9 is in one of those 2 squares. Is there... Have I missed a rule? I don't think I've missed a rule. No, I'm trying to see where I must have missed a deduction that would allow me to write a digit into the grid. and I'm failing miserably to achieve that. I know 9. Do I know anything else? I mean, it obviously looks like I have to fill, or at least pencil mark these digits, but I actually am a bit fearful. This doesn't feel like there's enough information in the grid, which has always been my concern with this puzzle. Three. How? I mean, that can't be a 1. 1 actually, look, 1 is quite restricted in that column, because it can't go next to 2. So 1 is either here or here. But it's not good enough. If I'm lost, I don't know I don't actually see how to make any progress at all. How long is this? So it's now been 2 hours 35 minutes since I started the webcam. There have obviously been 2 substantial interruptions in that process. But I think that sort of explains why I'm feeling a bit tired. Okay, this can't be 5 and 6, can it? Because they are consecutive. So that is another digit. So that's 8, that's 6, that's 5. Okay, so there we go. And all of a sudden there's a flurry of activity giving me a 9 over here. Phew. That's actually just a relief, frankly, because I was looking at it thinking, but how? But now I can sort of believe it might be possible. So 1, 3, 6 and 7 into these squares. Let's pencil mark it up and see. That's not 7. That one, not so much. Not sure. All right, good. So is it this column where we've got more digits than some of the others? 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 1, 6, or 7. Which is okay. But it's not enough. It's really not enough. 4 can be next to 6 or 8. No, don't be unkind, puzzle. I mean, that's another terrifying thought. Is it possible I've made an incorrect deduction? I mean, to get to this point, it would seem unlikely. Oh, sorry, that's 8, so that's 6. You can start. I really am tired, aren't I? I'm not even seeing very, very basic things. Okay, well, that's another slight win for the good guys. And probably it's going to allow me to pencil mark this sequence. 2, 8, 4, and 5. But that one is... Okay, that is a 4, or I've got a 4, 5 pair. Right, so that becomes 6. I've got another 4, 5 pair. So that one becomes 2 or 8, which gives me a 2, 8 pair. Yeah, this is weird. Now I've got a 4, 5 pair here and a 4, 5 pair here. I've got 4, 5 pairs all over the piece. But are they useful? I hear you ask. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But they probably are. Maybe. Shall we try 7 and 9? This square here is 1, 2, 6 or 8. Now, it's next to a 1 or a 3, so it's not a 2. So it's now 1, 6 or 8. And that is a 1, 6, 8 triple in this column, so that is a 3. Good grief. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be surprised that it take. Oh, this is good. Look. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Okay, so that's a little win again. Only a little win. Can we use our magic to progress this a little bit further? 1, 6, 8. Okay, 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. I have to pencil mark this up apparently. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. And there must be some way of ruling out digits here, but I don't know what it is. That digit and that digit are the same digit for what that's worth, because that digit has to appear somewhere in this box, and its only home is there. I suppose this can't be an 8-7 pair, can it? So one of these is a 1, so that's not a 1, that's not a 1. Okay, that's something. Okay. I feel like my brain's just given up. My brain's given up. Oh no. Come on, brain. You can do it. So that's 7. This can't be a 7-8 pair. Not that I was really thinking it would be. One of these is 7 or 8. Wow. Wow. So it's still unresolved, apparently. Oh, no, it isn't. 3 in the corner now makes that a 5. So that's a 4. So that's a 4, that's a 5. That's a 4, that's a 5. Right. So now we can take 6 out of there and 6 out of there. And now I've got a 1-7 pair here, which means I can take 7 out of there. This is absolutely remarkable, because it's still being slightly recalcitrant. I mean, I'm sure it isn't. It's just going to be the fact that I'm bordering on exhaustion. Okay, 5 can't go next to 6, so that's got to be 7, 1, 6, 8, 1, 8, 2, 2, 8. I'm really fascinated to see how many times this has been solved, because, yeah, there we go. That is a brutal puzzle. It's very, very clever. Oh, yes, 39 people in 12 days, so it's not very old. I wonder whether I've missed a trick altogether in terms of how you solve these friendly path puzzles. Maybe there's a sort of meta idea. But it felt to me like the meta ideas, such as they were more likely to be in these boxes, and I did try and use them a bit. I mean, the amount of different logic there was to solve that was prodigious. I feel like I've been on an Arctic expedition. Cale Schoon, take about. Very, very clever construction, like ridiculously clever that exists. But now I need to go and have a sleep. Thank you very much for watching. Apologies for the 2 interruptions. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.